Shouting, "We are not afraid," thousands of demonstrators have joined spontaneous pro-democracy protests throughout Cuba. Many say they're fed up with 62 years of communist dictatorship. They want freedom. A government crackdown against the protesters has already begun. And here with more from Miami is Teo Babun. Born in Cuba, Dr. Babun is an author, evangelical philanthropist, founder of the Cuban Caribbean Development Company, and head of outreach aid to the Americas. Dr. Babun, always good to talk to you, sir, so thanks for being with us. Some in the Biden administration suggest Cubans are taking to the streets in protest because they're angry about the government's slow COVID vaccine rollout. But I suspect there's much more going on than that. Tell us why this is happening. Are you amazed?
Thank you, Gary. No, we're not. We're not surprised that this has taken place. This has been brewing. It is not only because of what's been happening with the COVID with the pandemic issue, although it has been very serious, and the Cuban government has done a horrible job of that. I think it's a combination of a number of things that have taken place over a long period of time. And this was even predictable back in a few months ago in May, when a number of organizations that are working, particularly with the church in Cuba, with the faith-based community, both the evangelical community and the Catholic community, began to see a tremendous amount of publishing taking place by both pastors, leaders of the evangelical community, and Catholic priests in social media, demanding that the government pay attention to the tremendous amount of hurt that was taking place. In top of that, the church leaders had been very vocal in the last year and a half on a change in the Constitution, which in effect curtail the amount of freedom of religion and other freedoms, such as freedom of expression and freedom of education, which were being trampled by the government through a new constitution.
The government has shut down internet communication now in and out of Cuba. And your senior senator there in Florida, Marco Rubio, says the government is already sending out shock troops to crack down on the protesters. That order comes with the direction of President Diaz-Canel, who says these are counter-revolutionaries being directed through social media by Cuban-American mafia propagandists. I guess that's what you are. So we know troops are assaulting demonstrators with batons. Are they using live fire against the protesters? What have you learned about the crackdown?
Well, unfortunately for us, the faith community, this has translated into a disaster. We are now monitoring two Baptist pastors in Matanzas, Pastor Blanco and Sierra in Matanzas, who were just apprehended. Also, Pastor Perez in Camagüey, who has been apprehended. Those are Baptists. Then we have a Methodist pastor who has been apprehended with his son simply because he stepped outside and was marching along with the thousands of people that were out in the street. Perhaps the saddest news that we have to report is that a Catholic priest that has been very vocal, is very evangelical himself, and is someone that we have worked with. Pastor Castor Jose Alvarez was hit over the head by one of these rapid brigades. Some people took pictures of him bleeding, and he was taken to a police station in the province of Camagüey, and no one knows, he has no access, no one knows where he's at. He was scheduled to come to Miami, and we feel that he won't be able to come. He was together with two lay youth workers, both of which were removed from Camagüey and taken to Havana. Just to give you an idea, that's about a 300-mile distance away from their family. So the government is cracking down hard, and they are in particularly taking taking their shots at the evangelical and the Catholic community, because they know that that's where the leadership is. They know that those are the people that the people follow, and those are the righteous ones that have been preaching freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of education, and now the government wants to take advantage of that. This must stop. The Cuban government is way out of line here, and we hope that the international community does pay attention to what's happening here.
Well, President Biden says the right of the Cuban people to freely determine their future must be respected. But Senator Rubio has criticized the president for his soft response. So what do you think the president should do, President Biden?
Well, I think that immediately they should start a dialogue with the Cuban government to stop them, to have them stop, or else further sanctions should be introduced against the Cuban government. And I think beyond that, the Cuban government should be, the U.S. should demand that if the Cuban government wants to receive humanitarian assistance and continue the free flow of trade with the United States, that they need to stop these apprehensions, these illegal arrests that are taking place against pastors and others. And then we should perhaps provide humanitarian assistance to be distributed by the churches to the people without any intervention by the Cuban government. That should be a condition of us sending humanitarian assistance to Cuba.
Okay, Dr. Teo Babun, author, founder of the Cuba Caribbean Development Company, and head of Outreach Aid to the Americas. Thank you for taking the time to bring us up to date on developments in Cuba.
Thank you, Gary.